Hello everybody, welcome to DigiR&T. This is Toucan Dragon, and today we'll be looking at an Ulforce deck. This deck has gone through a lot of variations. Ever since set 1.5 released, I've been tinkering with this deck every chance I get. It has gone through a lot of phases. Jamming, Omni Turbo, and even yellow and blue hybrid. Now I'm sure in more capable hands, this deck could probably work, but unfortunately, my brain can only access one brain cell at a time, so I'm not the best player out there. But nevertheless, when Ulforce gets going, it's pretty fun and insane to see. For this video, I've created an Ulforce control deck. Now, something to keep in mind is that this deck has gone through very little testing. My process here is to create a deck with pure knowledge and theory of what decks you may come across out in the wild. Then I'm going to enter this deck into a local webcam tournament, which unfortunately I don't have the means to show you its gameplay, but then when I come back, I'll give you guys a report. So basically, you all will be following me around in my deck building process. Yep, it's 5-star content right there if I do say so myself, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Why did I make that voice? I don't know. Alright guys, starting off with our deck profile, we run 5 babies. We run 3 of the Digimon from BT2 and 2 Omnimon from BT1. Now the reason I run the Digimon from BT2 instead of the other one is because we're only running one jamming Digimon in here. And to be honest, since we're going more of a control focus build, we want our Ulforce to have more presence on the board. So yes, we'll go for security, but Demi has an ability here. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, it gets plus 1000 DP. We want Ulforce to be more beefy. Yes, we have Jamming UlforceVeedramon. That does come in handy, but there's times when we don't have that. And to be honest, there's times where we don't want to have that because we're running other ultimates here that give good inheritable effects. So to make sure Ulforce does stay alive with security checks or when attacking Digimon, this comes into play. So off the bat, with this under Ulforce, we will have an Ulforce at 12,000 DP. So I like that. It helps buff up Ulforce a little bit, and to be honest, we have more cards in the deck that give Ulforce more buffs. So potentially Ulforce could be at 15k. Now Omnimon's here because again we're doing a more control focus build, so we're trashing a lot of cards. Omnimon's effect here is once per turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no cards, trigger draw a card. This punishes the opponent for hard playing Digimon, like Rookie Rush, and it plays with us trashing and gaining memory. Now, the gaining memory part we'll get into in a little bit, but yeah, so that's why I run the 3 Demis and the 2 Upas. To be honest, I was thinking of switching out 1 Demi for an Upamon, but I want to see Ulforce more with buffs than with anything else, and I feel like we have enough draw power in the deck as it is, so that's just my thoughts. I might switch, but this is all I have right now, to be honest. So let's move on. Next, we are running 14 rookies. We're going with the 3 Vmons from BT2. Once per turn, when the Digimon becomes unsuspended, draw a card. Again, it plays in with the draw power. And Ulforce, since he suspends a lot. And afterwards, we're actually playing 3 Gabumon. When attacking, trash an illusion card of one of your opponent's Digimon with a level 5 or less. So again, this plays into trashing and with Omnimon. The only downside of this card is the Digimon has to be level 5 or less, which, yeah, it's not really much of a problem. But when you're going into Ulforce already, more than likely your opponent already has a level 6, because Ulforce takes time to build. Going against more aggro heavy decks like red, they want to just turbo up. You won't get the chance to get rid of an evolution card. But we have ways to fix that further into the deck. But for now, moving on to our further rookies, we are running 2 Omnimon from BT1. I like this card. When digivolving into this card from a baby, going to Ulforce with this card, I feel safe. Because if Ulforce dies, which more than likely he will die because he is a weak mega, you'll get a memory. And it helps to keep going with your plays. Next, we're playing 2 Digimon from the promo. I would probably like to play 4 of these guys. in place of the Gomamon, but I like this Gomamon too much. And if you don't know what this does, once per turn, when you trash an evolution card from your opponent, you gain a memory. And the cool thing about this game is that none of the cards here are hard once per turn. So this once per turn means only this Digimon in particular. So if we have these two Digimon in play and you trash, you technically gain 2 memory off of this. So it's nice. It's cool. I want to get more of these. I only have 2 currently. But right now the deck is pretty tight. So I wouldn't really know what to take off. But for now, we'll see how it goes. I might take out this for more of this Gomamon, but I like this one too much too. Next, we are playing 2 Gabumon from BT1. I've seen a lot of decks play, a lot of Ulforce decks play a full set of these. I like them, but I don't think they're worth a full set. At least in this kind of deck. That's my opinion. It might be a wrong opinion. Probably is a wrong opinion. I do like the draw. Helps with draw power, but I like these effects way too much to get rid of, to put more of these in. That's only run 2. And lastly, we are playing 2 vanilla. Ooh, I'm running out of space here. Put it over here. 2 vanilla Elecmon. He's cheap. That's it. He's a cheap card to hard play if I have to. Helps memory choking. He's nice. I like having a cheap card in a deck. Don't matter if it's control or if it's aggro. I like cheap cards to play. And that rounds off our rookies. So let's move on to our champions. So for our champions, we are running actually 11. We are running 4 Grizzlymon, our blockers. I've run one of these guys, 2, 3, or none, which was a bad idea, in the past with other Ulforce decks. In this meta, you kind of need a blocker. It's kind of hard to argue that you don't need one. You really need a blocker. The first time I made an Ulforce deck, 1.5 came out, I tried to go more Ulforce heavy, more V heavy. It punished me bad without a blocker. Only won like once, and that was just by pure luck. Next, we're going to play 4 Angemon from BT3. Now, this is basically Gabumon, but better. He has the same effect as Gabumon when attacking, except it does not have the restriction of level 5 or less. It's any Digimon. And what's cool about it, it's not once per turn. So with Ulforce, when you keep attacking Ulforce, you're going to keep ditching cards constantly, which works really well with cards like Gomamon that give you memory for trashing, or even Joe, who gives you memory for trashing as well. And he suspends too, so you attack, suspend, Ulforce comes back up, you get memory. Next, we are going to run 2 Veedramon 0 and our 1 Veedramon jamming from BT2. I would like to run 3 Digimon 0, and because he's a really good card, especially when applying some pressure to Rookie Rush, when they're going to keep just playing Rookie Rush. Play him. He's potential 7,000 DP because of his effect, and he's a Digimon name, so goes with tie, able to draw off him. His inherited effect is when attacking, you can grab 3 non-DigiR cards from your trash, put them back in your deck, and draw. So, recycles and draw power with his inherited effect. Veedramon is here, the jamming, just to apply some pressure if I have to. I like the option just to attack. So yeah, so that's our 11 champions. It was difficult to cut V names out of there because of Rena needs them. But I think it's essential, especially when running this type of deck, this control focused. We gotta trash stuff, and we gotta get that memory. Ulforce needs memory to take off. So, moving on to our ultimates. We are running the best ultimate in this deck, hands down, 4 Arrow Veedramon. His effect is on evolution. If you control a blue Tamer, you may unsuspend 1 blue Digimon, which helps a lot with Ulforce. If you have an Ulforce already in play, evolve into him, unsuspend Ulforce. Not only that, his inherited effect is just ridiculous. Basically, it makes Ulforce invincible when attacking security. His effect reads, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, it gains jamming. So playing with Rina or with Joe, when attacking, he has jamming right away. So I like it. I debated running only 3, but no, I need 4 in this deck. Ulforce is a win condition. He needs to go in all out. That protects him. The only thing that will take him out in security will be an option card like Gaia Force. Next, we are running 2 Zudamon from BT1. I'm sorry, I could not read that. Through the very little testing I've been through, he does come out a lot, but more so for his inherited effect, which reads, when attacking, if your opponent controls a Digimon with no evolution sources, gain a memory. And that's not once per turn. So you can see how that'll play with Ulforce when he trashes, no more evolution cards, gain a memory from him, get memory from Joe, and so on and so on. Just it's very memory built focus. And his on-play effect is good too. Just on play, draw 2 cards. If you brick, play him, draw 2, but even bricking and playing this for hard play, you only do it if you have to. At least in my opinion. Because if I could do anything else, I would want to do something else instead of hard playing him. But yeah, I don't like hard playing him too much, even though it is a nice on-play effect. Next, we're playing 1 Bastamon. Mostly because cheap Evo cost, 8,000 DP, strongest ultimate in this deck. So sometimes I have to swing with him. And Bastamon could potentially be over a 10k DP. And there's enough boost in this deck with Tamers, so if she has to swing. And lastly, I actually just added this card in. It's 1 Shakuyamon. I think it could work because of its effect. Its effect reads on your opponent's turn, all your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources get security attack -1. So if they have no evolution sources, they get -1 on the security check, which can go into play with Ulforce because Ulforce will keep trashing because of Angemon, Goblimon, and yeah. I was debating whether to take out Bastamon for another Shakuyamon, but I gotta see how this works first, you know? It might be a better play to take him out to replace him for another one of these, but I like having a strong ultimate, just in case if I have to attack on a cheap Evo cost if I do get choked, which more than likely I probably will. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. For our Megas, we're only running 4 Megas, which, you guessed it, are our 4 UlforceVeedramons. It's a really good card, I believe. It's a shame he got shafted in 1.5, but what can you do? His effect reads, on your turn, when 1 blue Tamer becomes suspended, you may unsuspend this Digimon. And his secondary effect reads, on your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, gain a memory. So we have 2 on the field to technically gain 2 memory when they're unsuspended, which I've done a couple times in the little testing I've done. Really good card. Really cool card. Cool concept. Again, he needs a lot of support. To round off our Digimon, we are going to be playing 2 Omnimon. Omnimon is mostly here for deletion. This deck lacks removal. It needs removal. I played this deck without removal. It did not go too well. I played it with Kakakta's Breath. It helped a little bit when it was in security, but on a hard play in your hand, not so much. It does come into play every now and then. It does help a little bit, a hard play in the hand. But to be honest, giving my opponent 7 memory, return the target to the hand, they'll bring it out again. You know, it's kind of pointless. So this deck needed good removal, so that's when Omnimon comes to play. He's the removal of this deck. And technically, Omnimon could get jamming because of UlforceVeedramon. Because of his effect, which reads, when attacking, you may return the Mega under this Digimon to unsuspend it. And by doing that, he gets a jamming because of UlforceVeedramon. So, Omnimon could do damage, is removal, it's nice. I thought about running 1, but I said no, I need to. I really need to. Next, we are going to our Tamers, which are running 9 Tamers total. So, first lineup is going to be our V-Tamer tie. from the promo. He's really good. Really cheap to play. 2 cost. Effect reads if you control a Digimon with a Veedramon in its name, you can either draw a card. You can suspend this Digimon to either draw a card, or a blue Digimon gains plus 1000 DP. That's going to be our way to buff Ulforce or any other Digimon we have to. Other than that, we also have Rina that plays with V. Another way to buff, and it's also a searcher card. Now, since we're running not that many cards with a V in its name, Rina won't go off as much. But again, that's why we're only running 2. We do need Rina just for the effect to suspend on the attack to give Ulforce jamming. But on top of that, Rina does give a buff when attacking too. So plus 1000 DP when a Digimon attacks, and you suspend this Tamer. So she's really good. I had her at 3 before, so I just cut her down 1 just to make room for some more Tamers, like Joe. So Joe is here as basically Hammer Spark. And a Hammer Spark that can actually play with Ulforce. So when your opponent's Digivolution source is trashed, you suspend this Tamer and gain a memory. He's a 3 cost, same as Rina. And technically, correct me if I'm wrong, but if Ulforce attacks with Angemon or Gobblemon under him, trashes a source, then you may unsuspend Joe, gain a memory, and by unsuspending Joe, Ulforce unsuspends himself and gains jamming due to error Veedramon. That's a play I'm kind of thinking about with this card. But my issue is I don't know if it plays right away like Rina does. Because it all happens simultaneously. Just one after the other before the attack goes through. So that's my thought process. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm not wrong, then Joe works really well in this deck. And lastly, our last Tamer is Matt. Just to play again with the trashing. And he's a memory Tamer. And he plays Ulforce because he does unsuspend himself. So when you hard play a Digimon, unsuspend Matt to trash an evolution source from one of your opponent's Digimon. So suspend him, trash, Ulforce stands up, and potentially gain memory because of Joe or Gommamon. So yeah, so we have 9 Tamers total. I thought about running 10, but I feel like that would have been too much. 8. I've run 8 in the past. It's okay, but I feel like I don't see Tamers enough, so I think 9 is fine. And lastly, to round off the deck, we are playing 2 Hammer Sparks. I used to run 4, but then I thought I need a removal, so I removed 1 to add an extra Omnimon. And I removed the other one to add Joe, because Joe is potentially Hammer Spark. And my thought process was, well, in this deck, I'm already getting a lot of memory without Hammer Spark. Hammer Spark does come into play when I need to start a play in the beginning of a turn, if my opponent chokes me. But I do have Digimon who do give me memory, and I do have Tamers who do give me memory as well. So I want Hammer Spark in the deck. So I think 2 right now is fine until something happens. I need to remove cards to add in 1 or 2 more. Plus, it comes in handy. The security effect comes in handy. Security effect, gain 2 memory. 0 play, main effect, gain a memory. So it's nice. I like Hammer Spark. It hurt me removing 2, but I feel like I would have to. So this is going to be our Ulforce control build. I have no idea how it's going to go. Hopefully Ulforce can bring in at least 1 win, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys are yelling at me through your screen saying, put this in or put that in, which feel free to do so down in the comments below. In a way, I would like to make this a community built deck, so if you think I should put in a card, take out a card, or, I don't know, throw my deck off a cliff, then let me know down in the comments below. Just, please, be gentle in my wallet. Alright guys, with that said, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I'm going to take off for a few hours and I'll come back with a report.
Many hours later.
And I am back. So, this tourney went on for 4 rounds. Round 1 was against Imperial Blue. To be honest, game 1 was kind of crappy. Both my opponent and I bricked, but he bricked harder. I was able to hard play Angemon and develop into Error Veedramon, I played Joe, so most of the game was proccing off that. He was able to bring out Imperialdramon, but since I discarded his sources by attacking, it could not stand. So I got early control of the match. He was able to play more Digimon on the field, but Shakomon came into play. Or Shikakumon, however you say him, he came into play, and since I kept trashing his sources, he could not attack security. Then Ulforce came out and we won the game. Game 2 was my turn to brick, but this time I bricked with all rookies, while he blazed into Imperialmon, getting early control of the field. Ultimately, I lost that game. Game 3 was slightly better. I felt like we were about equal with our opening hands. However, he was able to apply pressure with jamming, so I moved out my Veedramon 0 to get draw soft tie, but got too comfortable with my Digimon out on the field. To be honest, I should have Digivolved my champion into... I should Digivolved my rookie into a champion in the Raisin area, just to build a way out, just in case he did my Ulforce. Which he did. He went into Omni, got rid of my Ulforce, and basically gave him the game since he had Jamming Vmon and Breeding. And I had 3 security left with no blocker to play. So, I lost the third match, ultimately. I feel this has come down to my playstyle and learning how to change from a more aggressive style to a more laid back one. On top of that, I pressed the panic button way too soon, and I want to come out and respond to him. But I feel like in this deck, since it's more control based, I need to hang back. Even though I am getting pressured on, I have to wait. And that's the thing I guess I can't do because I have no idea how to play control. Next, in round 2, it was a decent matchup. We went against another Imperial Blue deck. In the first game, I got annihilated because he went into pure Rookie Rush and kept choking me out. So, unfortunately, I could not get into Shikuyamon fast enough, especially since I could not get it in hand. Ultimately, though, I was able to go into an Ulforce, an attack, but I didn't have enough Tamers in play to go full lethal. So, Ulforce down game 1. Game 2 felt like a pretty standard game. We both played pretty well. I can't remember anything too memorable, but Ulforce was able to win and go into game 3. Game 3 started just fine as well. Unfortunately, he got into his Imperial faster than I could get into Ulforce, so the game was a bust. I feel it's just my ability to navigate with a control deck. I usually play red, so I'm more aggressive, so it's just kind of me learning how to play this deck's tempo. So far, both players really liked the deck I was running, and like this version of Ulforce. Since this is a casual tourney, I opted to change out Bastamon for one Shikuyamon, so I can see him more often for these Rookie Rush type situations. However, it didn't really plan out because in round 3, I played against Red Omni. In this game, we went overtime and we were the last ones playing, so I don't have much notes on this one because I didn't have enough time to type it out before the 4th round. But what I do have here is the first game, my opponent bricked hard, so I was able to take control of the field and win it. In the second game, I could not find my Mega for the life of me. Ulforce did not want to come out. My board was ready for him, but he was nowhere to be found. Later on, after that game, I checked. He got bottom decked. So I don't know why Ulforce was not liking me today. In the last game, though, it was a better one. We both played all out and eventually led to overtime, with me winning on the final turn. Round 4, and the last round of this tourney, was another Red Omni deck. This game went really fast. To be honest, with how late it got, I barely remember what happened. I remember he was really choking me out with his plays to make sure I wouldn't go into Ulforce, and just kept chipping at my security with big Digimon. In the second game, it was actually pretty close. I had him on the ropes with an early Ulforce and enough Tamers to go full lethal. Unfortunately, though, Ulforce swung into Gaia Force, which really hindered me. I didn't have much security left to bide enough time to build up another Ulforce, so I was stuck playing blockers, which ended up just delaying the inevitable. All in all, the second game of this round was a really good one, even though Ulforce lost it. So all in all, in this tourney, Ulforce went... he went, He won 1 round and lost 3. I've noticed some things I do need to fix with this deck. There's a good chance I might replace a rookie with a champion because there are several games where I couldn't even evolve. But ultimately, I feel that this meta might just be too fast for this kind of deck. I mean, even when I was losing with this deck, I was still having fun just playing it, just because I got to use combos. Now I'm pretty sure other people can pilot this deck better than I can. I'm pretty sure I could guarantee that. So if you find this build interesting, and if it inspires you to create something similar, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you have certain changes in mind for this deck, please put that down in the comments as well. Again, I kinda want this to be a community-driven deck series with Ulforce. I believe he does have potential if we all put our heads together. But again, he did get kinda shafted in 1.5. He might have hope once the structure decks come out for him, give him more support. But until then, this is what we got for now. With all that said, it's late. I'm tired. I gotta work in the morning. This has been Toucan Dragon, and I'll catch you all in the next one.